Hello everyone, I'm OddPitPat, and can you believe we're already a quarter of a way through the year? Yep. For those who've been following me, you'll know that this year I have been doing a charity challenge where I am raising for Macmillan Cancer Support by playing 100 games. I've been doing this little video as a little update on how that is going, but if you want to know more about that charity challenge, I will add the announcement video in the description below, where you can find out how this thing is working and what goals and prizes are happening because of that. Now, at the time of recording this, I am currently at 21 games completed, and as you may have guessed, that is a little behind, as I should be at 25 at this quarter mark of the year. But I'm hoping to catch up in the next few months, so let me just go through how these first 3 months have gone with a highest rated game, lowest rated game, and an honourable mention for each month of the games that I have played and completed. In January, we started off strong by me completing 8 games in total. These range from things from Mario Wonder to a little game that did surprise me called Monument Valley. Now, Monument Valley did end up being my highest rated game with a score of 4.6 in total. This is just a cute little puzzle game that you can get on the mobile, and that is part of the reason of why it really surprised me. The game focuses on using a mechanic of perspective to solve puzzles as you traverse through a strange little land with honestly the best little guys you'll ever see. I managed to really power through this game in a single day. It is quite short, but I was so enraptured by it. It is beautiful to look at, the music is really lovely in it, and there's just so much to look at and do within it. There is DLC for this, and there is also a second game that is available, which I have added to my list to play at some point in the future. It really did take me by surprise. I wasn't expecting much, it being a mobile-based game, but I guess that's joke's on me for that one. It was really good fun to play, and the puzzles weren't too difficult, which was quite nice as well. I was really glad to be proven wrong about what my initial thoughts of this game were, and that's why it ended up being my highest rated game for this month. My lowest rated game for January ended up being Storyteller. Storyteller came out of the other end of this with a score of 3, so it's not really an extremely low score, but it's still the lowest rated one of the month. This game really uses the mechanic of swapping out characters within a storyboard to create the story that is the puzzle for that level. Now, this was quite a fun and unique little mechanic that I haven't really encountered before, and I did really enjoy it when I first started playing it, but it got very repetitive very quickly. It also seems like it's quite restricted in the ways you can manipulate the story and like what little differences you can make, but then you kind of get to the end and apparently there's loads of differences that you can get, which you then have to sort of go back through to get your little trophies and things. So it kind of was one that fell a little bit flat for me. It wasn't a terrible game, but it also wasn't anything that I would be wanting to play again or push to play again or even recommend to people. The art style of it is a bit of a saving grace for it. I do really like the art style. It's quite unique and different, though some of the character designs were quite similar, but it was all part of the fun, I guess. But it did end up not being as much fun as I would have wanted it to. My honourable mention for this month will be the Placid Plastic Duck Simulator. Now, this is one that has been a bit of contention within my streams, of a lot of people complaining that it's not really a game because there's not really much that you do in it, but I honestly had so much fun playing this, and especially playing with a couple of my friends on stream, just chatting, going about our business and watching these ducks do the silliest little things. It's definitely one that is really good to just sort of have on the background while you're going about your day, or if you're doing some work, just having ducks in the background to kind of give that zen vibe. The different designs of the ducks were great, and we even have some real great clips that come from that, especially the Cameron duck flying off into the sea, disappearing forever. It was a lot of fun, and I have since gone back to it quite a few times to just have on in the background to keep me company. Moving on to February, where things slowed down a little bit, with me only completing 5 games within this month. My top rated game within this was a silly little one called Later Alligator. This came out with a score of 4.6 as well, and it really is just a fun, silly little game full of mini games, and I absolutely loved it. There is a bit of a mystery going on with the story in the background because it is following a character called Pat, who for some reason believes his family are going to off him on his birthday with the event that is happening at the end of the day. Your aim is to go through and talk to family members, play mini games to get information out of them and find out what the event really is. This is one that I did on stream and played multiple times on stream because I got to the end, realised I could get some more, got a different ending that did actually shock me, which then forced me to play it a third time to see if I could get the true ending. So this is one you do kind of have to play multiple times to get the whole story, but it is so much fun. There are puns throughout which are just fabulous, and honestly, the shock did fully make me gasp. It really does take a left field and gets you by surprise. I do suggest that this is one that people play, and even if you don't want to play it, watch some playthroughs of it because it is just good fun and it is just really, really silly. So my lowest rated game for February came out with a 3.2 and was one that actually surprised me with how low it was. The game I played was called Ghost Trick. Now, if you know the Phoenix Wright games, this has the same director as that and does continue with some of its sort of wackiness. I loved all of the character designs in this game. They are wacky, wild, unique, and show each character's personality to the fullest, as you would expect from a Phoenix Wright adjacent game. The mechanic as well of the ghost tricks that you do is also really interesting. You're following a detective who has died and you're trying to figure out the mystery whilst you're a ghost. It is a really unique and fun little sort of idea. I just hit a point where it got towards the end of the game and I was glad it was finished. It's not to say it was necessarily a bad game. The story is quite interesting, it's really fun to play, but it does get very repetitive and there are many points where they explain what's happened to you multiple times through different characters, and it just gets to a point where you're going through things over and over again, or you get caught in a loop because you missed that one bit you needed to do with the ghost trick and you have to go right back to the beginning to try again. It can get quite frustrating in places, but it is still quite a fun game to play. So if you do like the sort of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney sort of mystery games, I definitely suggest this is one for you to try out because you'll probably quite enjoy it. I just think the way that it was presented could have been condensed a little to kind of round that ending up a little bit more, so it didn't drag on as much as I felt like it did. It was quite tricky deciding on an honourable mention for February's, as there was quite a lot of games I did really enjoy, but I think I'm going to have to go with Kaiju, the Kaiju dating game. This is one that me and my best friend played on Valentine's Day together and we just had so much fun. It's really silly and it seems that seems to be the theme through the games that I really enjoyed it. They're just silly or have little silly ideas to them. But this one was quite silly. You're doing just a bog standard sort of dating game, but you are playing as kaijus, dating other kaijus. The dating mechanic works by them asking you questions and you answering particular ways. Depending on how you answer, depends on if you have a bad, good, or really good rating with them. If you get really good, you destroy the buildings further that you're going around doing, and if you get bad, then you lose hearts, and it's sort of a multi-level thing. You go on multiple dates of destroying famous landmarks to try and get a date with the kaijus, and it gets harder as you go along as well. There's also sort of like a subplot going on with the military. It's just all around silly. It is one that you can absolutely power through in a couple of hours and get a date or two completed. We did do a run through of a good and bad ending just to see what it was like, and there are differences in it, and all of the different kaijus have sort of different personalities that you find out throughout the game as well. It's just a nice little game and the art style is just adorable, so it's definitely one that I would recommend people play. Now moving on to March, where I have managed to complete 6 games. You'll notice on this list that 2 of them don't have scores, but that's because I haven't actually got around to rating and reviewing them just yet, but that will be coming shortly. For my highest rated game, this is another one that surprised me, and that is Hotline Miami. Now, Hotline Miami isn't the type of game that I would usually go for. I'm not usually one for shooters or top-down shooters or anything similar to this. It's not really something I go for, or even something that I'm that good at, so I tend to avoid them. But this one was highly recommended to me, so I thought I'd give it a go, and honestly, it came out scoring 4.4 overall, and I had so much fun with it. It really was something different that I'd never done before. Again, because I tend to usually avoid those sorts of games. And it's just one that I had so much fun with. The music is insane, and I have been listening to it multiple times since I've played this. And it just, even though you're repeating the same things again each time you die, and it's like a one-shot death, I didn't mind that. I was focused and ready to power through. I even completed it in a much shorter time than I anticipated, which really helped with all of that. There are a couple of little things that did niggle at this one for me. One of them was the visuals. When you kind of get like the wavy fuzzy screens, did make me feel a bit queasy, and there isn't really any way to turn that off, so that kind of lost a couple of points. But for the main bulk of the game, it was really fun to play. I really enjoyed playing it, and will definitely be playing the second one at some point when I get the chance. The lowest rated game I had this month also ended up around that 3 score mark, coming out with a 3.2, and this was a game called Frog Detective. This was a game that I was looking forward to playing because it was another one that was those silly little guys on a silly little adventure, but I do realise that the demographic of this game definitely isn't me. It was a fun little game with really interesting stories and all the characters being very different and silly, and that was great. But it was quite short. Each case is about an hour and a half depending which one you're on, and they're all really simple to do. You kind of just go through, talk to all the characters, realise who has what item, re-talk to the characters to swap all those items, and you've solved your cases. It is a fun little quirky game, and I do recommend it, especially if you've got your little gamers that may be wanting to start playing games. Definitely want to show them. The dialogue could be quite silly in places as well, which kind of added to the enjoyment of this. But overall for me, it was just sort of a fun little game that was just what it was. Now on to my honourable mention for this month, and that will be Slay the Princess. This has ended up being the honourable mention because I haven't actually got around to reviewing and fully scoring it yet, so I don't know where it positions in place. It may actually end up being first because me and Kira had an incredible time on stream with this one. It is a spooky difference to your usual visual novel games. Gameplay is obviously quite simple to it because it is just choosing your options, and sometimes there were quite a lot of options to choose from, and so that kind of made you blind with choice. But other than that, it was really good. There were some elements of the art that was proper creepy and really did set us on edge, but then there were also points where we were really intrigued and focused on what was going on in the story because we just had no clue what was going on and we wanted to know. We managed to get a full complete story through it in one go. You can get through a cycle of it really quickly, but if you want like a full story, you've got to put a good couple of hours into it, and I quite like that. You can play a short amount or a long amount in one session if you really wanted to. This will also be one that I'm going to go back to and trying to get all of the different threads through it because it's so interesting and the art is just really capturing, and I just had so much fun playing it, even though there were so many points where I was properly scared because I didn't know what was going to happen. Anyway, that's it for my little roundup for you this month. I will try and do another one of these in a few months' time just to kind of update with how I'm going as well. We are currently sitting at £350 on the charity goal, so thank you so much if you have donated, or even if you've just shared the word that has allowed more people to donate. If you do want to donate to support this cause, I will put a link in the description, so please head there and donate whatever you can, big or small, it's absolutely fine. If you can't donate, please do share the word with your friends and trying to get more engagement in on this. As mentioned, I have been doing more detailed reviews on each of the games I've been playing on my How Long to Beat page, so if you want to find out more about my opinion on that, go head there and give them a read, or drop in and stream and ask me any questions that you may have. For now, I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you again on streams, which are every Wednesday and Saturday at 8:30 PM UK time. I will hope to see you soon. Bye!